Light, oh light, so fast and free, always on the move, you can't see. You paint the world in vibrant hues, but have no brush, it's quite a ruse. You bend and bounce, a playful trick, making shadows dance and pirouette quick. Though you have no weight, you hold the key to chase away the dark and set us free. And what am I talking about? Well, in this video, we'll be diving into the beauty, genius writing, and composition of the Kessoku band song Into the Light. We'll be exploring what makes it such a beloved song and how it might potentially hint at who Hitori Goto might become in the future. The song kicks off with what I've called the pre-intro because the song actually has two parts in its intro. In the pre-intro, the guitar takes the lead with chords to move up and down the fretboard. This section is also accompanied by a killer bass line and the drums lay down a march-like beat. I love this touch as it creates a vivid image of the band marching and getting pumped up to perform live. As they take the first step into the spotlight, the guitar bursts into a catchy and memorable lick, kicking off the main intro. The rhythm section lays down a supported groove, allowing Boji to shine. Personally, this is one of my all-time favorite Kessoku band intros. The vibe is both angelic and electrifying, building anticipation for the momentous event about to unfold. And thus, we enter the first verse, welcomed by the wonderful voice of Ikumi Hasegawa. As you begin singing, the rest of the band takes a more low-key approach. The drums provide a straightforward beat, the bass lays down a steady foundation, the rhythm guitar strums chords, and the lead guitar sits silent for the first part. The lyrics are something we're talking about because it contains everyone's favorite subject. Mate! Wait, it's not? Huh. Anyways, the first two lines of the lyrics touch on Bochi's social life. As we know by now, Bochi has mostly lived in isolation and experienced loneliness throughout her life. Similar to songs like Session Complex and Guitar Loneliness and Blue Planet, she once again mentions using the guitar as an escape from the harsh reality of her social anxiety. Then there's the mention of you in the next line, which could mean Kessoku band, and all the time they have shared and bonded. Others, however, can relate it to Bokita, since other translations mention a guitar and the only other guitarist is Kita. I swear to God, the ship's steerless is going to be the talk of the century. The rest of the verse closes out on a positive note as it talks about them united to perform on this grand stage they're entering. I concur with Red Joker's interpretation where he suggests that this song could be about their big concert at Zepp Haneda last year, making it thematically fitting for the event. Additionally, it can be seen as a teaser for Bochi's future personal growth. While Ikumi sings, the instruments provide subtle support in the background. The drums lay down a simple yet groovy beat, which, despite its seeming simplicity, features two distinct kick drum patterns, showcasing the band's meticulous attention to detail in crafting their signature sound. The bass remains uncomplicated in this initial section, holding long notes to allow the rhythm guitar to shine, providing both chordal support and a groovy staccato feel that complements the vocals. The vocals also have some nice elements that add even more fuel to the fire, especially in the first verse. This includes the effective use of backing vocals, which only enter at certain crucial lines, adding emphasis to important phrases. Additionally, Ikumi's vocals utilize delay on specific words, achieving the same effect of emphasis. How about the lead guitar? It simply gears up to sneak a subtle reference in during the second part of the verse. This reference is none other than the iconic Dat Band intro, transposed to fit the key of the song. Man, this solo is so good! I can forgive them for not including the intro on the album version of Dat Band since they did place it on the album. Several months later, that is. Right before the pre-chorus, we have a short instrumental break that echoes the intro, adding to the song's memorability. The pre-chorus is noteworthy for its use of callbacks and exchanges between the instruments and the vocals. It's like they're playing catch, taking turns in the spotlight. This is something I absolutely love because every instrument, every small detail can be clearly heard, noticed, and appreciated by the listener. Lyrics-wise, it perfectly fits and resonates with this section of the song. Back to Bochi's perspective, in our stage analogy, we're given a glimpse of Bochi and the rest of the band backstage, mere moments before taking the stage. She's a bundle of nerves and excitement facing what could be their biggest performance yet. The lyrics also hint at a potential shift in perspective and outlook on life. She references her Session Complex but now suggests a hint of maturity and growth beyond it. When the vocals take center stage, the drums pound on the snares with each beat, building anticipation that makes listeners eagerly wait for the chorus to drop. There's also the delivery of the lines, which are done in a very rapid, almost rap-like manner. There's also some clever wordplay at work in this pre-chorus. It mentions 8 times or 8 measures depending on the translation you're using. What's clever is that the pre-chorus indeed ends exactly 8 measures after this line is sung. By the way, a measure is a group of beats in a song. As I explained in my analysis of Karakara, most songs have a 4x4 time signature, and this song follows that common structure. Then the instrument slows down and takes a breather. The bass slides higher. The guitar plays a prolonged note as Ikumi blurts out the last line, dropping in the title like the most epic moment in episode 8! showing Bocchi feeling confident to face the audience and enter into the light, which could symbolize the spotlight of the stage. And BAM! The chorus explodes into your ears with a powerful angelic force. The melody of the vocals primarily consists of repeated notes, which by the way is a common technique in many pop songs. Despite the repetitions, it is the choice of notes that make it stand out and iconic, especially when it goes sheesh! Ikumi is truly an amazing singer. Jumping into the words and bold with the notes, we have by far the most optimistic, most positive lyrics in a Kessoku band song so far. More positive than What Is Wrong With, more optimistic than Never Forget. The fact that this is written by Bocchi, the most relatable character alive, is just insane. You're no longer me for real. Bocchi says in these lines that her dream of becoming a true guitar hero, something that she was not certain of being when Nijika told her during episode 8 before the best smile alive, is now becoming reality. The new world that is being born. She finally made it. Those lofty dreams and aspirations she had all those years ago are now becoming true. Well done, Bocchi! We are so proud of you! She also expresses that the time she spent with the band, those endless practices, gigs, and off-the-stage moments have culminated in this amazing moment. She tells us that everything felt worth it in the end. However, she also reminds us that deep down, she's still the same quirky pink creature who is awkward, shy, and prone to making mistakes, especially on the social side. But according to Red Joker's interpretation, unlike back then when she used music solely as a means to gain social connections, she is now genuinely passionate about it. At this point, she has truly fallen in love with becoming a musician. Alongside the vocals and lyrics, the rest of the band are going all out. The lead guitar is providing solid chords, while the rhythm section is providing support in keeping things simple and exciting. The drums then on the second pass with the chorus add in the ride cymbal to add extra bling. It all continues throughout the entire chorus until everyone pauses except for the rhythm guitar, which plays gentle chords to support the last line. This sudden pause adds a powerful attention-grabbing touch, making the section even more interesting. It's a great way to end the chorus. The intro plays again as we proceed to the second verse. Afterwards, we have probably one of my favorite second verses out there. Why, you may ask? Because the bass! Oh, it's so groovy! The bass on the first part of the verse goes on this cool lick or riff where it's somewhere in the middle between reggae and rock. It's not entirely reggae, but it has that vibe. But not just the bass. The drums play along the vibe by hitting on the rims of the drums with the rhythm guitars strumming the chords in a very reggae-ish way. This section adds so much flair that I personally would love for the entire song to have this vibe. Kessoku band reggae song when? We return to the math-inspired lyrics, where they delve into Bocchi's connections and this friendship she's formed. Red Joker in his analysis suggests that Bocchi isn't the type to make a large group of friends. However, despite this, the connections she forms have a deeper mutual understanding and are real. One line in the second verse perfectly sums it all up. Divide our friendships equaling our band. Kessoku band is truly where Bocchi feels she belongs. In a way, she's telling us all that she couldn't imagine being with another group of individuals other than the Dorito, the bassist, and her wife, I mean, the Aura. The second verse is a repeat of the first verse, featuring the same that band intro on the lead guitar and maintaining the same rhythmic elements. But then it suddenly slows down to tell the listener, ha! Joke's on you! We're gonna go to the bridge section now! Which, by the way, is just a descending scale, while the backings go the drums go gentle, only going with the kick drums on the ones of the beat. The lead guitar goes on a cool riff which could be taking us the solo. Yeah, we're going to the stage. We're going to the stage. One thing I must say is that the backings here add a very angelic theme, almost as if you've won a video game or got a really cool item from a long RPG quest. We can also interpret this as Bocchi giving out a big sigh of achievement and happiness after all the years and journey she took to make it here. Yes, people, we are overanalyzing a simple That is how the Dorito rolls. If you want more of these over-analysis, please like and subscribe since I'll be doing these videos for all the songs from Bocchi the Rock and beyond. The drums then start building up, ramping up the intensity to prepare the audience for the bridge section of the song. The bridge's melody is very simple to the pre-chorus, rap-like but it's more in your face. The lyrics, by the way, are Bocchi essentially reminiscing about her past. They tell us how she used to be a shut-in, unable to form connections and suffering from intense anxiety when interacting with others. As a result of her isolation, she found solace and escapism, creating a world of her own in her imagination. This section is like Bocchi looking at her past self, this pink creature who was hopeless before the events of the anime and before the angel of Shimikitazawa adopting her. She acknowledges her past self. Her telling all of this shows even though she might cringe, be embarrassed, bang her head a million times, she seems proud of it, almost as if she's giving a headpat to her past self, telling everything will work out. While the lyrics pack a punch, the vocal effects deserve a closer look. An echo or delay effect on the right channel repeats specific lines and words from Ikumi, further emphasizing the feeling that this section is a flashback sequence. At the same time, the drums duke it out, adding so many fills and being Russian by saying, "If I play po whole drum set, I use all drum set." Alright, skip this next part if you're not into wild theories. What if the prominent drums throughout the bridge symbolize Nijika's role as the key figure in Bocchi's personal growth, considering she's the drummer? It's a bit of a stretch, I know, but I think there's some merit to it. Definitely not speaking from place of Nijika bias. The bridge mirrors the chorus, ending with a similar instrumental pause and emphasis on the final line. But then, get ready for something amazing. A short, explosive, instrumental sequence that signals the end of the bridge and pumps you up for the final chorus. Alright, this is just plain cool. The last chorus opens with a neat vocal filter effect accompanied by just the kick drums. Unlike the previous chorus, it's just Ikumi singing solo. The backing vocals are silent here. The lead guitar is also filtered out with this effect, which fades out gradually over time. Imagine the music producer slowly turning the knob to fade the filter effect. It's a really cool touch. The drums build up as the effect fades before it dramatically pauses to allow for that the chorus slams back into your ears. The first half mirrors the previous chorus lyrically, reiterating the lingering awkwardness she feels. But a shift emerges as she expresses a newfound determination to broadcast her message through music. This is further emphasized by the use of words like scale and drive, which could also be interpreted as subtle references to musical elements, hinting at her amplified passion for playing. The final chorus concludes using a common technique, repeating a certain section. I personally experienced this in my local church, where we often end songs this way. While it can sometimes feel repetitive, I appreciate how they added a twist here. The repeated section actually sounds fresh because of the added flair. So kudos again for putting a unique spin on conventional practices. You are Nirika approved! The concluding lines resonate as if Bocchi is directly addressing her bandmates. She expresses how their bond has withstood the test of time, forging an unbreakable connection. Her ambition ignites, yearning for them to stay together and reach for the stars, surpassing even the goal of Zep Haneda. As the final line hangs in the air, the other band members fall silent, leaving only Ikumi and her guitar. With quiet determination, she declares that Kessoku band will keep playing as long as the world is ready to hear. Thus, we enter the outro of the song, where it's probably my favorite outro ever, because of the sole reason that this is the first time, if I'm not mistaken, where all three characters other than Kita sing, leading to a callback between them and Ikumi. It feels so unified, as if this song is not just Bocchi's anthem of excitement to perform at Zep Haneda, but is a culmination of the entire band's dreams and shared effort. They keep on calling back before they let out the high This outro section is a repeat of the intro, where all the instruments make the most of their last seconds playing. The lead guitar, however, varies, with Bocchi using a cool arpeggio riff in this section. Then, as the vocals fade out, the band continues playing for a moment before repeating the pre-intro one last time. Then, everything comes crashing down. The lead guitar lingers on a specific note, creating a similar effect to the beginning of Session Complex. Whether intentional or not, I think it's a subtle tribute to that song, the first one we ever heard from Kessoku band all those months ago. It adds a final touch of nostalgia, making us all feel like proud parents watching Bocchi finally achieve her dreams. Well done! I've never been so proud of my entire life! And that's my take on this song. I consider it a major spoiler for Bocchi's character development. However, I must disclaim that I've only read the manga after the events of episode 12, season 1. So, I don't know if she's already reached the stage in the latest chapter, but I'm betting she's closer to this version of herself in the future than the one we saw at the end of the anime. I also want to share that the original artist behind this song, SAKANAMON, made their own version of the song. It was their vocalist and guitarist who wrote the lyrics. What I find fascinating is how the feel of the song song is different with their version. It truly shows that Kessoku band has their own sound, unique and iconic, that no one can replicate. Kessoku band is one heck of a band. While Bocchi might be the main draw, the rest of the band are just as talented. The drums never resort to simplification. The bass uses its full range, and the rhythm section is both supportive and groovy. The other members are just as technically skilled and impressive as Bocchi, going all out with fills and interesting sections. Yet despite the apparent chaos, they work together seamlessly. I remember how Seika described the band after the audition. What might seem like harsh critiques of their individual sounds are actually a compliment to how they still feel united in the end. They truly rock! Into the Light is my second favorite song from Kessoku band. I am so happy that this actually exists. It will take a lot for another Kessoku band song to steal my heart, because Bocchi has finally made it. It was all worth it. And now, she's stepping into not just one light, but more spotlights to come. Thank you for enjoying this analysis of Into the Light. We are at 3 out of 17 video analysis of all Bocchi Rock songs. We have a long way to go, so brace yourselves. Like and subscribe if you want to see the rest of the songs being broken down and all of the solos being ruined. Okay, off I go. Bye!